All right, so today we're going to talk about measures of central tendency. You know what that means? Yeah. Based on what's up there, that's mean, median, mode. Okay, those words are called measures of central tendency because they measure the center of data. Okay, so let's start by actually reminding ourselves what each of those things are. Do you remember what the mean is? Anybody? Grab your pencil. You guys are going to write these things down with me. What's the mean, Abby? Yeah, you add them all up and you divide by how many there are. What's another word for mean? Average. Okay, so mean is also called average. And you add all the data and divide by how many there are. Okay, so if we want to find the average test score, I'm going to add all of your test scores up and divide by how many people took the test. Okay? We'll practice that in a little bit. And do you know what median is? Go ahead, Nate. Good. Okay, it is the middle number in an ordered set of data. Can there be more than one median? Because potentially there could be two numbers in the middle. Can they both be the median? Yeah. So it's either the middle number or it's the average of the two middle numbers. Okay, and again, as soon as we go through all of these, we'll do some examples. Okay, the mode. Anybody remember what mode means? Abby? The most. Mode is the most. Okay, it's the number or numbers that appear the most. Okay, there can be more than one mode. Okay, now if every number just appears once, then there's no mode. But if you have two numbers that appear two times, then they would both be the mode. Okay? How about range? Range isn't a measure of central tendency, but oftentimes when we talk about mean, median, and mode, we talk about range also. Do you know what range means? Okay. Range is the highest number minus the lowest number. High minus low. Okay, we can talk about the range of ages in this room. The youngest person in this room is probably 12. There's something like 12 in here. So, okay, and I'm by far the oldest person in this room. Yesterday, Ms. Wentworth, I came to a sad realization after somebody asked, later in the day, somebody asked her how old she was, and she said, I'm 20. And then I went, oh crap, I'm double her age. That's sad. So if we wanted to find the range in ages, we'd have to do my age minus the youngest. 40 minus 12 would be the range. Okay. And then outlier. Do you know what an outlier is? Go ahead, Abby. Yep. a number that is much larger or much smaller than the rest. Okay, now technically there's a whole formula to find outliers. Okay, it's like 1.5 times the standard deviation. Like, in terms of 7th grade, we're not going to be that technical. If you take a statistics class someday, they're going to tell you there's this whole formula to actually determine if a number is an outlier. Okay, what we're doing in 7th grade, we are not going to be that technical. We're just going to say, you know, if everybody in this room got 70 or better on a test, but one person got 30, they're the outlier. Their score is much lower than everybody else's. Okay, so they would be considered an outlier. Does that make sense? Okay, so just to practice this before we get some actual data, let's say this is our data. 7, 4, 9, 12, 4, 6, 8, and 4. Okay, that's our data. I want to start by finding the mean. How would I find the mean of that data? 8.
Add all of them up and divide by 0.
Okay, everybody grab your calculator. Add them all up. If you don't have a calculator, come and grab one. So 7 plus 4 plus 9 plus 12 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8 plus 4. Add them all up, what'd you get? 54. Okay, you have to do that divided by how many numbers there are. In this case, there are 8. So we're going to do 54 divided by 8. And you get 6.75. So that's the average. Okay, if this was the ages of a group of people, the average age is 6 3/4. I want to find median. I cannot use the data as it's listed. Okay, when we're finding median, the first thing we have to do is put the numbers in order from least to greatest. Okay, so in order from least to greatest is 4, 4, 4. Use those. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 12. Make sure I have 8. Okay, then to find median, after I have the numbers in order, I'm going to work my way to the middle. Okay, and that really means, you guys, we're just crossing numbers off. I'm going to cross off a low number and a high number. A low and a high, a low and a high. And here's what happens in this case. I end up with 6 and 7 both in the middle. If I cross them both off, I'm at nothing. I cannot have 2 numbers in the middle. So what do I have to do with those 2 numbers? Absolutely. 6 plus 7 is 13. So we add them together and divide by 2. You get 6.5 as the median. Okay, the mode. What would be the mode in this set of data? The number that appears the most. Lexi, 4. Okay, 4 is the mode. If there was another number that appeared 3 times, we could have 2 modes, but in this case, we only have 1. If I asked you to find the range is the highest number minus the lowest number. So in this case, 12 minus 4 is 8. That would be the range. Okay, and in this data, do you think there's an outlier? No. So in this case, There is none. There's no outlier. Okay, there's nobody, if this was ages, there's nobody that's way older or way younger. Now, if we did the data in this classroom and I talked about ages, is there an outlier? I'm the outlier, right? I'm way older than you guys. So I would be an outlier. Depressing. Would Miss Wentworth be an outlier? She's not really way older than you guys, right? So you have to be quite a bit larger than the other numbers, or smaller, okay? All right, so what we're gonna do now is we are gonna collect some data that we're gonna use, and we need to know everybody's height, okay? So I'm gonna give you the next, remember what number it was? Because now you're gonna tell me, we're gonna write them all down, okay? You don't necessarily need to write all the numbers in your packet. I'll write them all up here to keep track of them, okay? So let's start over here, Josie. 63. Go ahead. Layla?
71. 66.
Abby? Ace? Autumn? Al? Or, did I say the wrong name? No, that's right. I always get you and your brother confused, and I'll never be able to tell the two of you apart. Daisy? 59? Go ahead. Isaac?
60.
Okay. 63. 65. And? Okay. So this is the heights of the people in our class. So some of you are like, oh geez, I'm one of the shorter ones. I'm one of the taller ones. Why? We all want to be tall. Why is that? We all want to be tall. It's okay. No, Layla's like, no, you don't. No, it's not really that great being super tall. Okay, so now we gotta find the mean. So you guys, this is the tricky part sometimes, is finding the mean, because you have to make sure when you're adding all the numbers together, you don't hit a number wrong in your calculator. So we're all gonna do this and make sure we come up with the same. Add all the numbers together. Just do the adding first. I'll do it also. So we'll check each other. What'd you get? Anybody have that? Abby, what'd you get? Okay, what did you get when you added them all together? Is that what we all got? 1,171. Shoot, I added wrong. Now I have to re-add to make sure. I had 1,111, so I must have missed a 60 maybe. 63 plus 60 plus 71 plus 66 plus 63 plus 66 plus 63 plus 69 plus 59 plus 68 plus 65 plus 60 plus 68 plus 68 plus 65 plus 66 plus 65 plus 66. Ah, yes, now I got that. 1,171, and then I have to divide by 18 because there's 18 students in here today, and we get 65.1, rounding to the nearest 10. So the average height of a student in this classroom is 65.1 inches tall. So either you're above the average, or you're below the average, or you're about right on average. Some of you are average. Okay, sweet, I'm average. guess I'm above average. Maybe you're below average, okay? It's okay. Okay, the next one is calculate the median. What's the worst part of having to find the median? Like, you got to put them all in order. Okay, so we have to put all of these numbers in order. So the shortest person in here is the 59, right? 59 is the shortest, so 59. And then we have 60 twice. And then 61, we don't have anybody. 62. No, 62. 63. 1, 2, 3 times. No 64s. 65. 1, 2, 3 times. 66. 1, 2, 3, 4. 67. Nobody. 68. 2. Oh, 3. Sorry. Missed that one. 69, just one time. And 71. Okay, that's everyone. Now we have to cross them off and get to the middle. Okay, so our job is to cross off, I'm going to do 2 at a time. 2 low numbers, 2 high numbers. 2 low numbers, 2 high numbers. Low, high, low, high. And I end up with these 2 numbers in the middle. 65 and 66. What do I do with those? I have 2 numbers in the middle. Brayden? Add them together and divide by 2. So 65 plus 66 is 131 divided by 2 is 65.5. Is our mean and median pretty close to each other? Yeah, if we're measuring the middle of the data, the mean and the median should be fairly close to each other. Okay. How about the mode? What was the most common height in this room? Yeah. 66. That appeared 4 times. We had some others that appeared 3 times, but that one appeared the most. So 66 is the mode. The range, we'd have to do the high minus the low. 71 minus 59. I always think this is kind of funny. 71 minus 59. 12. So there's a 1 foot difference between the tallest person and the shortest person. So if we had Layla stand next to, who is Daisy. Layla and Daisy stand next to each other, there's a 1 foot difference.
We see it.
When you walk up there, right? But it's kind of funny. Now, in other hours, it's going to be worse. There are shorter 7th graders than you, Daisy. So it's okay. You're not the shortest. Okay? Are there any outliers? I didn't put that question on here, but are there any outliers? No. So Layla may feel like she's the tallest person around, but she's not an outlier. She's not so much. She's only 2 inches taller than, who is 69 inches tall? Only 2 inches taller than Alex. That's not like crazy amount taller. Okay? Now, eventually, Layla, you might not be the tallest. Some of these people are going to pass you up eventually. You're hopefully done growing. That's your hope, right? Okay. Questions there? Okay, then we're going to do one more thing today, and we are going to talk about what if we added this person to our class, okay? His name is Chandra Badardangi, okay? Now, I'm going to show you a little video about him first, because he is the Guinness Book of World Records shortest person ever. He's only 21 and a half inches tall. Okay, so here we go.
5 years ago, Chandra Bahadur Dangi had never left his village in Nepal. Now he's travelled the world, famous for being the shortest man on the planet. Dangi measures 54.6 centimeters tall. That's about the height of a car tire. The 72-year-old, who comes from a poor district 200 miles from Kathmandu, was completely unknown 3 months ago. Now he spends his days traveling the world, carried by his cousin, after he was spotted by a timber merchant who visited his village. Dangi says the best thing about being the shortest man in the world is getting to visit new countries. His latest journey is to Sydney, Australia. Dangi says he's most looking forward to his first ever trip to the beach.
Okay, so to put that into perspective, because some of us can't really, I mean, you could see he's obviously very short, right? 21 and a half inches tall would come up to my knees. Okay, that's all the taller he is. He got carried around a lot, I would imagine, because, I mean, that's shorter than my children when they were born were 18 inches long. Right? Some kids when they're born are 20 inches long. So this guy's 72 and has never grown taller than 21 and a half inches tall. Okay, that's short. Would he be considered an outlier? Yes. He is much, much shorter than anybody else in this room. Okay, even you, Daisy. He's shorter than you. Okay? So think about the mean we computed for our class data. What did we divide by to compute the mean? When we found the average, what did we divide by? 18, right? We divided by 18. Okay? Will we divide by the same number if we add him to the class? No, right? No, we will not. Why? Right, there'd be one more person. So what would we divide by? We divide by 19. Because we have to remember we have another person, okay? So our original mean for our class, okay, remember we had 1,171 divided by 18, which was 65.1. Okay, so let's add him to our class height. Do I need to re-add all of those numbers? I don't think so. I don't need to re-add everything. I know that this is what we had as a total, 1,171. I just need to add his height, which is 21.5. So 1,171 plus 21.5 is 1,192.5. And we're going to divide that by 19. So we get 62.7. What happened to our average when he was added to the list? Abby, it went down. Why did the average go down? Why do you think that happened? So when we added him, it went down. Why did that happen? Why did our average go down when he was added to our class? We divided, but how come the average didn't just stay the same? Or how come it didn't go up? Abby. His height was so much lower than all the rest that it brings the average down. Okay, so why do you think this happened? Because he is much shorter than everyone else. Do you have to be a lot shorter to bring the average down? You really don't have to be a lot shorter. You just have to be smaller than the average. If we add 5 more people the same height as Daisy, is our average going to come down? Yeah, because we have 5 shorter people than the average. Okay? So if we have a really small outlier, we have an outlier on the lower end, what's always going to happen to our average? Abby, it's going to decrease. Okay. What if we had a large outlier? What do you think would happen if we have a very large outlier in our data? It will go up, right? If we had somebody much taller than even Layla, that's going to make our average increase. Okay, it's kind of like tests, right? If you bomb one test, what happens to your grade? It goes down. If you do really awesome on another test, what happens to your grade? It goes up. Okay, so depending on which end of the spectrum you're on, it's going to change your grade accordingly. Okay, how about the median height? Do you think our median height is going to change when we add him to the class? I don't want to rewrite all those numbers. The median was 65.5. When we add this short person to the class, I'm going to go back to here. If I added him down here, 21.5, is our median going to change much? Abby? Yeah, it's actually going to go down just by 0.5. Because if I cross off this low one, I'd have to cross off a high one. So my new median is going to be 65. It's really not going to change much. Okay, so the new median would be 65. The median hardly will change, okay? It may change, but not much. Okay, if the median changes at all, it's not going to change very much. Outliers really don't affect the median much. Okay, the mode we had for our class was 66. Does the mode change when we add a very short person to the class? Not at all. Okay, the mode is not going to change at all due to an outlier. Okay, questions there. We're going to stop at that today. Tomorrow we're going to add a really tall person to the class, and his name is Paul George. You'll see he's a very tall basketball player, okay? And we'll kind of calculate the data based on that.